Hello again. The purpose of this module is not really to teach you how to use a checklist or how to do a proper pre-flight of an aircraft, because quite frankly that's just about one of the easiest things you can do. All you have to do is print out and follow the checklist. There's nothing really hard about it. No, the purpose of this module is to show you what it looks like when a real-life pilot of moderate experience like myself is following proper procedures. Alright, that's the whole point behind a checklist, is following proper procedures. Now, there are four parts to a real-world pre-flight. There is the walk-around, which I'm kind of simulating with this little spin around here. There is the pre-start and start checklists, of which the walk-around is a part. There is taxiing out, where we get to check the aircraft over while it's rolling on the ground. And finally, there's the engine run-up, which is conducted just before we take off. The importance of following a checklist cannot be overstated. In real life, I have lost a couple of friends in my life in their flying experience, and I know of others who have died, and also people who have had bad accidents, and I've come very close myself to having an accident. And all of these were simply because we missed something, that there's something we forgot. We hurried the checklist or we didn't do it properly, and although in my case it was strictly embarrassing, people do suffer because of it. Oh, there's one other thing I think I'd better explain. The master switch, which I showed you in the previous module, is actually a split switch. It's two switches in one. The left side is called master alt, or alternator. The right side is called master bat, or battery. Okay, let's get the show on the road because I want to fly. Let's start with master battery to on. You can hear the gyro spool up. Master alternator off. Flaps down 20%. This lets us check the flap actuators during the walk around, but even though we're not doing the walk around, I still do it. Master fuel on. Hobbs meter. We record the numbers on it so we can get our flight hours. The Hobbs meter just records the amount of time the master battery's on. Check the fuel to the flight plan. Now, if you run out of fuel before you reach your destination, things are going to get really interesting, and I don't like interesting. Check the doors and seat belts, make sure they're secure. Check that the trim is in neutral. Mixture to idle cutoff, throttle fully closed. This is the carb heat right here. Make sure it's closed. All the switches are all off. Parking brake is on. Radios all off. Check all the circuit breakers are in. And check that the controls have full and clear movement. So let's look out at the left aileron. You can see it moving there. Over to the right, and it's moving the same way, only backwards. Over our shoulder at the elevators, up and down, full movement there, and you can see the rudder moving as well. Okay, that was a pre-start checklist. On to the start checklist. Double check that the master battery switch is on. Turn the beacon light on. That tells everybody around that the engine is about to start. A mixture to full rich. Primer. Unlock the primer, give it 1 to 4 pumps. I generally use 2, which is adequate for your average warm day. Magneto switch. Switch to both. Okay, crack the throttle just 1 centimeter. Give it a little bit of gas for starting. Ignition. Turn the magneto switch to start. Wait for 10 seconds or 4 blades to pass you, whichever comes first. The engine is started. It's running sweetly, which is nice. So immediately bring the throttle to 1000 RPM. Excellent. Now check the oil pressure is in the green, and switch master alt to on. And that concludes the startup checklist. Now, while the engine's warming up, let me explain something here. A lot of people in the SEM world lean the mixture when they're starting at elevations of like 2,000 feet or 4,000 feet MSL. This is a really, really bad mistake. The reason is The more you lean the mixture, the hotter your combustion. And just like a regular engine, if you start an aircraft engine and warm it up really, really quickly, it's very bad on the engine. It breaks down the oil and it increases wear. So, rather than leaning the mixture, what we do in real life is bring the throttle up to 1000 RPM. That is a good high idle speed to let the aircraft's engine warm up normally. And the high idle ensures that the engine won't stop due to decreased oxygen. Okay, at any rate, with the engine started and warmed up, we can proceed on to the pre-taxi checklist. We turn the radios on. We check our flight instruments to the compass and to the current pressure of the day. Bring the flaps up. Last thing, we set the comm radio to the ground frequency, which for this airport is 128.7. Once that's set, we can turn on the nav lights, wingtip lights, which let everybody in the area know that this aircraft is about to taxi. We turn off the parking brakes, and we can contact ground. Kenora ground, this is Cessna 152, Charlie Golf Uniform Zulu Bravo, taxi for takeoff runway 7, heading north out over the training area. Roger ground, Uniform Zulu Bravo, taxi and hold short runway 7 via Alpha Tower on 12.1 Zulu Bravo. Okay, let's go. Cab. Oh, sorry, I mean taxi. Alright, when we're taxiing out, there's a couple things we want to check. First, let's tap on the brakes a little bit to ensure that the brakes work and that the nose wheel shock is working properly. Next, I like to give the nose wheel steering a little bit of a wiggle to make sure it's working properly. Now, a thing about taxiing, the taxiway lines are there for a reason. Put your nose wheel on it, keep your speed to a slow jog, maybe about 6 to 8 knots, and leave her there. Most people taxi too fast. Alright, we've hit the end of the runway. It's time to do the engine run-up. First, let's make sure the doors are locked and our seat belts are thoroughly fastened. Flaps are up, parking brake is on. Let's set the trim for takeoff. Make sure the controls are free and clear. And let's make sure that the master fuel valve is on right there. Mixture to rich. Let's bring the throttle up to 1700. And we'll do our engine checks. Now let's check the engine gauges, make sure they're both in the green. Just to the right and a little above them, let's check the suction gauge, make sure it's sitting between 4 and 6 inches of mercury. Now we come over here and turn the master alt off. Now we're going to do a load test on the battery here. Turn all the switches on. Flaps to full. And while the flaps are in transit, we're going to check the battery charge, make sure that we got a charge there. We also see in the discharge warning light that it's on. Now we can turn the altimeter back on. Let's check the magnetos. We go from left to both to right to both. Make sure in the RPM we don't get any more than a 75 RPM drop on either and 150 on both. Once that's done, we can bring the throttle back, bring the flaps up, turn all unnecessary switches off. Now we can set the radio to tower frequency, call in, and we are ready to go.